Hello everyone. Welcome back to Old Coins News. Today we are looking at three interesting American nickel coins: the 1964 Jefferson Nickel, 1985 D Jefferson Nickel, and 2002 P Jefferson Nickel. These coins feature Thomas Jefferson and his famous home Monticello. Watch until the end to learn their history and possible value. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel is one of the most famous and widely collected coins in United States numismatic history. This coin represents an important period in American coinage and carries symbols that reflect the nation's identity, heritage, and respect for one of its founding fathers. The coin was minted in 1964, during a time when the United States was experiencing economic growth, cultural change, and an increasing interest in coin collecting. On the coin you will see several inscriptions including United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, Liberty, and In God We Trust. Each of these words has historical meaning and helps tell the story of the nation. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel was produced by the United States Mint and features a portrait of the third U.S. President, Thomas Jefferson, on the front side of the coin. Jefferson was not only a president but also the primary author of the United States Declaration of Independence, making him one of the most important figures in American history. The Obverse, our front side, of the coin shows a detailed profile portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. This portrait was designed by the American sculptor and engraver Felix Schlag, who won a design competition held by the United States Mint in 1938. His design replaced the earlier Buffalo nickel design and introduced a more formal and historical representation of Jefferson. On the left side of Jefferson's portrait, you will see the word Liberty followed by the date 1964, usually separated by a star symbol. Liberty represents freedom and democratic values that are central to the United States. On the right side of the portrait is the phrase, In God We Trust, which has appeared on many American coins as a national motto expressing the country's historical tradition of faith and trust in divine guidance. The reverse side of the 1964 Jefferson Nickel features the famous building Monticello, the historic plantation home designed and owned by Thomas Jefferson himself. Monticello is located near Charlottesville, Virginia, and today it is preserved as a historic site and museum visited by thousands of people every year. The building shown on the coin is a neoclassical structure inspired by classical European architecture. The engraving carefully shows the dome, columns, and symmetrical structure of the building, symbolizing Jefferson's love for architecture, science, and classical learning. Above the building appears the Latin phrase E Pluribus Unum, which means out of many, one. This phrase reflects the idea that the United States was formed by many states and many people coming together as one nation. Below the image of Monticello are the word Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. These inscriptions clearly identify the denomination and issuing country of the coin. The denomination 5 cents places a coin within the everyday circulating currency used by Americans for small purchases. Even though the coin has a small monetary value, it carries significant historical and cultural meaning. Millions of Americans used these coins daily in the 1960s for purchases such as newspapers, snacks, or transportation fares. The composition of the 1964 Jefferson Nickel is made of 75% copper and 25% nickel, a metallic combination that has been used for most U.S. nickels since 1866. This alloy gives the coin its silver-gray appearance and strong durability. The coin weighs 5 grams and has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters. Its edge is smooth rather than reeded, which is typical for nickel coins. Because of this durable metal mixture, many 1964 nickels remain in circulation or in collectible condition today. The year 1964 is particularly significant in U.S. coinage history. During this time, the United States experienced a major coin shortage caused by increased demand for coins and hoarding by collectors. As a result, the United States Mint produced an extremely large number of coins to meet public demand. The 1964 Jefferson Nickel had one of the highest mintages in the entire series. These coins were produced mainly at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint. Coins from Denver carry a small D mint mark on the reverse side next to Monticello, while Philadelphia coins from that time usually did not include a mint mark. Because of the large production numbers, most 1964 Jefferson Nickels are common in circulated condition. However, collectors still search for coins in uncirculated condition, coins with strong strikes, or coins with special features such as full steps on the Monticello design. The full steps detail refers to the clearly visible steps leading to the entrance of Monticello. Coins with fully visible steps are rare because the design was often weakly struck during mass production. When collectors find a coin with complete steps and minimal wear, it can be worth significantly more than its face value. Another interesting aspect of the 1964 Jefferson nickel is the possibility of mint errors. Coin errors occur during the manufacturing process and can make a coin more valuable to collectors. Some examples include double dies, off-center strikes, odd die cracks. While these errors are uncommon, they add excitement for collectors who carefully examine their coins in hopes of discovering something unusual. From a historical perspective, the Jefferson Nickel series began in 1938, replacing the earlier Buffalo nickel design. The Jefferson design has remained in use for decades, though it has been updated several times. Despite these changes, the 1964 Jefferson Nickel remains one of the classic examples of the original design era created by Felix Schlag. It represents a time when American coins strongly emphasized historical figures and national symbols. Collectors often appreciate the 1964 Jefferson Nickel, not just for its design, but also for its connection to American heritage. The portrait of Thomas Jefferson reminds people of the early years of the United States and the ideals expressed in the Declaration of Independence. Meanwhile, the image of Monticello reflects Jefferson's creativity and intellectual curiosity. He was not only a political leader but also an architect, inventor, writer, and philosopher. The coin therefore celebrates both political leadership and cultural achievement. Today, the 1964 Jefferson Nickel is still easily found in coin collections, coin shops, and sometimes even in pocket change. While most examples are worth only a small amount above face value, well-preserved coins can be valued higher depending on their condition and rarity. Professional coin grading organizations such as the Professiona. The 2002 P. Jefferson Nickel is an important part of the long-running Jefferson Nickel series in the coinage of the United States. This coin carries several well-known inscriptions including United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, Liberty, and In God We Trust. These words reflect the history, culture, and political ideals of the United States. The Jefferson Nickel design has been used for decades and honors Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the most influential figures in American history. Jefferson is famous not only for his presidency, but also for being the main author of the United States Declaration of Independence, a document that announced the independence of the American colonies from Great Britain in 1776. By placing Jefferson's portrait on the coin, the United States Mint celebrates his role in shaping the nation's democratic ideals and intellectual traditions. The Obverse, or front side, of the 2002 P. Jefferson Nickel features a left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson. This portrait design is based on the work of the American sculptor and engraver Felix Schlag, who originally created the design in 1938 after winning a national competition organized by the United States Mint. Schlag's portrait captures Jefferson in a calm and dignified profile, reflecting the leadership and wisdom associated with his legacy. On the left side of the portrait appears the word Liberty, followed by the year 2002, separated by a star symbol. Liberty is one of the most important values in American political philosophy and represents freedom, democracy, and individual rights. On the right side of the portrait is the national motto, In God We Trust, which has appeared on American coins for many decades as a reflection of historical national traditions and beliefs. The reverse side of the 2002 P. Jefferson Nickel displays the historic building known as Monticello, which was a plantation home designed and owned by Thomas Jefferson. Monticello is located near the city of Charlottesville in the state of Virginia and is one of the most famous historic homes in the United States. Jefferson designed the house himself, inspired by classical European architecture and the ideas of the Renaissance. The building features a large central dome, balanced wings, and elegant columns, all of which symbolize Jefferson's love for architecture, science, and classical learning. Today, Monticello is preserved as a museum and historical site visited by thousands of people every year who wish to learn about Jefferson's life and the early history of the United States. Above the image of Monticello on the coin appears the Latin phrase, E Pluribus Unum. This phrase means out of many, one, and it expresses the idea that the United States is a nation formed by many states, cultures, and people united into a single country. The phrase has been associated with the United States since the 18th century and is a traditional motto used on many American coins and official symbols. Beneath the building are the word Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. These inscriptions identify the building shown on the coin, the denomination of the coin, and the country that issued it. The mint mark P on the 2002 P Jefferson nickel indicates that the coin was produced at the Philadelphia Mint, one of the oldest and most important branches of the United States Mint. The Philadelphia Mint has been producing American coins since the late 18th century and continues to play a major role in the country's coin production. The mint mark P appears on the right side of Monticello on the reverse of the coin, identifying its place of manufacture. Other Jefferson nickels from the same year may carry the D mint mark from the Denver Mint. The composition of the 2002 P Jefferson nickel is made from a strong and durable metal alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This mixture has been used for most United States nickels since the 19th century because it provides durability while maintaining an attractive metallic appearance. The coin weighs 5 grams, has a diameter of 21.2 millimeters, and features a smooth edge rather than a reeded edge. These physical characteristics make the nickel easy to recognize and handle in everyday transactions. Although the 2002 P Jefferson nickel was produced mainly for circulation, it also attracts interest from coin collectors and numismatists. Millions of these coins were minted, so they are generally common in circulated condition. However, collectors often look for coins that remain in uncirculated condition, meaning the coin shows little or no wear from circulation. Coins are preserved in excellent condition, may be graded by professional coin grading organizations such as a Professional Coin Grading Service and the Numismatic Guarantee Company. These organizations examine coins carefully and assign grades that help determine their quality and potential value in the collector market. Another feature that collectors examine on Jefferson Nickels is the detail of the steps on Monticello. The steps leading to the entrance of the building are sometimes weakly struck during the minting process, meaning they appear incomplete or blurry on many coins. When a coin shows fully visible and sharply defined steps, collectors refer to it as a full steps coin. These coins are considered more desirable because they demonstrate a stronger strike from the minting process. As a result, a 2002 P Jefferson nickel with full steps and high-quality surfaces may have a higher collector value than ordinary examples. In addition to condition varieties, collectors also search for mint errors that can occur during the coin production process. Examples of such errors include double dies, off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planches, or strike-through errors. While these errors are relatively rare, they add excitement and interest to the hobby of coin collecting. A coin with a noticeable error may be worth significantly more than a normal coin depending on the type and rarity of the error. The year 2002 was part of a transitional period in the Jefferson Nickel series. Only a few years later, in 2004 and 2005, the United States Mint temporarily changed the design of the nickel to celebrate the Lewis and Clark expedition, an important exploration commissioned by President Thomas Jefferson in the early 19th century. Those special designs honored the explorers Meriwether Lewis and William Clark and commemorated their historic journey across the western territories of the United States. The 2002 P Jefferson nickel, however, still belongs to the classic design era that retained Felix Schlage's original portrait and Monticello reverse. For collectors, historians, and everyday people, the 2002 P Jefferson nickel represents more than just. The 1985 D Jefferson nickel is an interesting and historically meaningful coin from the long-running Jefferson Nickel series of the United States. This 5-cent coin carries several well-known inscriptions that appear on many American coins, including United States of America, E Pluribus Unum, Monticello, 5 cents, Liberty, and In God We Trust. These words are not just decorative elements. Each phrase represents an important idea connected to the history, values, and identity of the United States. The Jefferson Nickel series honors Thomas Jefferson, the third president of the United States and one of the most influential thinkers of the American founding era. Jefferson is widely remembered as the main author of the United States Declaration of Independence, the famous document adopted in 1776 that declared the independence of the American colonies from Great Britain. Because of his role in shaping the ideals of liberty, democracy, and self-government, Jefferson's image was chosen to appear on the 5-cent coin beginning in 1938. The Obverse, or front side, of the 1985 D Jefferson nickel features a classic portrait of Thomas Jefferson facing left. This portrait was originally created by the sculptor and engraver Felix Schlag, who won a national design competition held by the United States Mint in 1938. Schlag's design replaced the earlier buffalo nickel, which had been used since 1913. His portrait of Jefferson is simple yet dignified, showing the president in a thoughtful profile that reflects his reputation as a philosopher, writer, and statesman. On the left side of Jefferson's portrait appears the word liberty, followed by the year 1985, which indicates the year the coin was minted. Between the word liberty and the date, there is usually a small star symbol, a traditional element of the Jefferson Nickel design. On the right side of the portrait is a national motto, "In God We Trust." This motto has appeared on many American coins and represents a historical expression of faith and national tradition. The reverse side of the 1985 D. Jefferson Nickel shows a famous historic building, Monticello, which was a plantation home designed and owned by Thomas Jefferson. Monticello is located near the city of Charlottesville in the state of Virginia and is considered one of the most important historic homes in the United States. Jefferson designed the building himself, drawing inspiration from classical European architecture and Renaissance ideas. The structure features a beautiful dome, elegant columns, and balanced proportions, reflecting Jefferson's deep interest in architecture, science, and classical learning. Today, Monticello is preserved as a museum and a UNESCO World Heritage Site, allowing visitors to learn about Jefferson's life and the early history of the United States. Above the image of Monticello on the reverse side of the coin appears the Latin phrase E pluribus unum. This phrase translates to out of many, one, expressing the idea that the United States was formed from many states and diverse groups of people united into one nation. The phrase has been associated with the United States since the 18th century and is frequently used on official symbols and coins. Beneath the building are the inscriptions Monticello, 5 cents, and United States of America. These inscriptions clearly identify the buildings shown on the coin, the denomination of the coin, and the country that issued it. The D mint mark on the 1985 D Jefferson Nickel indicates that the coin was produced at the Denver Mint, one of the major branches of the United States Mint responsible for producing circulating coin for everyday use. The Denver Mint has been operating since the early 20th century and produces hundreds of millions of coins every year. On the Jefferson Nickel, the mint mark appears on the reverse side of the coin to the right of Monticello. Other nickels from the same year may carry a P mint mark indicating they were produced at the Philadelphia Mint. The composition of the 1985 D Jefferson Nickel is made from a strong alloy consisting of 75% copper and 25% nickel. This metal combination has been used for most U.S. nickels since 1866 because it is durable and resistant to wear. The coin has a diameter of about 21.2 millimeters, weighs 5 grams, and has a smooth edge rather than a reeded edge. These physical characteristics make the nickel easily recognizable among other American coins. Because of the durable copper-nickel alloy, many Jefferson nickels remain in circulation for decades. The year 1985 was part of a stable period in United States coin production. By this time, the Jefferson nickel design had been in use for nearly 50 years, and it had become one of the most familiar coins in American everyday life. Millions of these coins were produced to support daily commerce. People use nickels for many small purchases such as public transportation fares, vending machine items, newspapers, and snacks. Although the coin has a relatively small face value, it plays an important role in the American monetary system. For coin collectors, the 1985 D Jefferson Nickel can still be interesting even though it is generally common. Collectors often look for coins in uncirculated condition, meaning the coin has not been heavily used in circulation and still shows its original mint luster. Coins with higher quality surfaces, fewer scratches, and stronger design details are considered more desirable. Professional grading companies such as a professional coin grading service and the numismatic guarantee company examine coins and assign grades that help collectors determine their condition and value. One special feature collectors often search for on Jefferson Nickels is known as full steps. The steps leading to the entrance of Monticello are sometimes weakly struck during the minting process. When a coin displays clearly defined steps across the entire staircase, it is called a full steps coin. These coins are rarer and usually more valuable to collectors because they represent a stronger and more precise strike during production. Another exciting aspect of coin collecting is the possibility of discovering mint errors. Errors can occur during the minting process and may include double die strikes, off-center strikes, die cracks, clip planches, or strike-through errors. Although such errors are uncommon, they can make a coin much more valuable depending on the type and visibility of the mistake. Collectors often carefully examine their coins with magnifying tools in hopes of finding these unusual features. The Jefferson Nickel series, which began in 1938, remains one of the longest-running coin designs in United States history. Over the decades, the design has undergone several small changes and commemorative variations.